are on guided notes, lesson 4. The ball work is 2 nails are 5/16 inch and 13/16 inch long. How much shorter is the 5/16 inch? What operation are we doing? Subtraction. So we're going to take our bigger inch nail, which is 13/16, and we're going to subtract our other nail, which is 5/16 of an inch. When we add or subtract fractions, we need to have a common denominator. We have that common denominator, so we're going to leave this as 16, and then we subtract our numerators. 13 minus 5 gives us 8. Can this be simplified?
Yes.
We can divide both by what? 8. And we get 1/2 or 1/2. So if it is a 1/2 inch shorter. Okay, our heading of our notes is adding and subtracting unlike fractions. Our target for today, I can add and subtract positive and negative fractions with different denominators. Okay, so for the notes section, before you can add two unlike fractions, or fractions with different denominators, you rename one or both of the fractions so that they have a common denominator. Fractions that have different denominators are called unlike fractions. Remember, for our last lesson, we were talking about like fractions. Those are ones that have the same denominators. Unlike fractions have different denominators. Whenever we work with fractions, it's important that your final answer is in simplest terms or simplest form. And to subtract an integer, we add its what? We change to addition and we add the opposite. We have 1/2 plus 2/4. Do we have a common denominator here? No. So we need to come up with a common denominator. One way you can do that is if you list your multiples until you have one in common. What are the multiples of 2?
4.
Yeah, you do 2, 4, 6, 8. What about for 4? 4, 8, 12. What do you notice is our smallest number they have in common? 4. So we can use 4 as our common denominator. We want to rewrite these fractions as a number over 4. So we're going to have two fractions. We can leave our second fraction the same because it already has the denominator of 4. We want to change 1/2 to a fraction over 4. How do you get from 2 to 4? Times 2. Whatever you do to the denominator, you also have to do to the numerator. And 1 times 2 gives us 2. So this fraction is 2/4. We're adding 2/4 plus 2/4. When you add or subtract, we keep the same denominator, which is going to be 4, and add your numerators. 4 plus 4 is, or 2 plus 2 is 4. We have 4 over 4, and this simplifies to 1 whole. Okay, so if you look at our next question, we have -3/4 plus 5/9 plus 7/4. Do we have any common denominators? Yes, but are all three of them the same? No, so we need to find a common denominator between those two numbers. If you are unsure of a common denominator, you can multiply the numbers by each other. So what are our two denominators? 9 and 4. And what is 9 times 4? 36. So we can change all these fractions to a fraction out of 36. So if I change my first one, negative 3/4, if I'm changing to a fraction, I know it's negative, and I want a denominator of 36. What am I multiplying by? Times 9, so I have to multiply my numerator times 9. And what's 3 times 9? 27. So I know my first fraction is negative 27/36. We are adding 5/9, and I need to change 5/9 to a fraction out of 36. What am I multiplying by?
Times 4.
Times 4, gotta do the same thing to the numerator. 5 times 4 gives me 20. So I'm adding 20/36. And my last one, we're adding another fraction, and that fraction is 7/4. And 7/4 I need to change to a fraction out of 36. What are we multiplying by? 9. So you have to multiply this one by 9 as well. 7 times 9 is 63. So my last one is 63/36. So we are adding three numbers, but do we have any negatives? Yeah, so adding a negative is the same as what operation? Subtracting. So we could add these two first, and we could write that as 63/36 minus 27/36. We keep 36 as our denominator. What is 63 minus 27? 13 minus 7 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. So we have 36/36. We then still have to add in, what fraction are we missing? 20/36. But what do we know about 30/36? What does that equal? 1 whole. So we're adding 1 whole plus 20/36, which gives us 1 and 20/36. Is this fraction in simplest form? No. So how can we simplify it? Divide by 4. And we have 1. What is 20 divided by 4? 5. And 36 divided by 4? 9. So our answer is 1 and 5/9. Okay, for our next example, we have negative 2/3 minus 1/2. Do we have common denominators here? No. What would be a common denominator we could use? 6. So I'm going to change these both to a fraction out of 6. We know our first fraction is negative, and we're subtracting a fraction out of 6. If I have negative 2/3 and I want to change that to an equivalent fraction, what am I multiplying by? So I have to do the same thing to the numerator. And what's 2 times 2? 4. So we have negative 4/6, and we have to change 1/2 to a fraction with a denominator of 6. And what are we multiplying by? 3. And we get 3/6. When we look at this, when we subtract, what 3 letters do we need to do?
Keep change opposite.
Keep change opposite. So I keep my first one the same, negative 4/6. I change this minus sign to a plus sign. And what's the opposite of positive 3/6? Negative 3/6. And now we have an addition problem. Do we have the same sign or different signs? Same. So we do what? Add and keep. What's 3 plus 4? 7, we keep the negative, and what's our denominator? 6. Is this in simplest form? What do we have to do? So we know our answer is negative. How many times can 6 go into 7? 1, and how many do you have left over? 1, that becomes our new numerator, and we keep the same denominator. So negative 1 and 1/6. So go ahead and try these 5 on your own problems. You have 4 regular problems and then 1 word problem.